Hello, I'm Fireman Dan, and welcome to Space Engineers. I'm going to try this recording again. As I was sitting here recording this the last time, I get launched, I get partway up, and then the power flickered. Yeah, evidenced by that falling out of the sky. So anyways, what we have here, this is I guess a lander, a launch lander, an escape lander, whatever you want to call it. I call it the escape lander. What happens here is these feet basically stay on the ground. When you push the launch button, the merge blocks disconnect all the way around, and the atmospheric launcher here takes off and propels you into the sky. That will take you up to about 5,300, 5,400 meters before it becomes ineffective, and you got to go to stage two, which is the hydrogen. Now, when you activate stage two, there's a merge block right there, it disconnects. The parachute opens, and the beacon comes on, and the shield generator comes on, which protects it from impacts. The solar cells on each side, so no matter which way it lands, there will be one facing the sky, and the batteries keeps the beacon on, so you can come back and recover it later, and for the parts. 3 seconds after pushing the stage 2 button, the hydrogens kick on, and that propels you almost 0 Gs, if not 0 Gs. I've tested it. I can get up to about there, but I usually go to about 1.0 gravity, which I will show you when I'm talking about inside, before I activate stage 3, which is the ions. Now, once you activate stage 3, the RCS, the hydrogen turns off, but the RCS turns on. And they will burn for 10 seconds or until you run out of hydrogen naturally. And what they do, they will propel this away from the lander to prevent damage and also keep it in gravity. Which, the same with the stage 1, the parachute somewhere. Anyways, the parachute activates, the beacon comes on, and solar panels, batteries to keep it powered so you can come back and find it later. Now, stage 3 is your ions. They will fly at the minimum 1.2 Gs, which is the lowest I've tested it. I did not test it below that. It may fly, but I don't want to tell you it will. Now, this lander is 100% survival ready all the way through. You got the small cargo containers, an exterior vent, which I will show you what that's for later. Parachute on top to help you land in atmosphere. On the inside, you have a refinery, an assembler, a gravity generator for those low gravity situations such as asteroids, a vent inside to pressurize the interior, a shield generator for damage, and the automatic LCDs too. Now the auto LCDs, it is powering all 4 screens. The first one is stop distance, which those of you who are not familiar with this, that is how far you will travel before stopping once you activate the, the dampeners, brain block. The stop time, that's how much time you need to stop. 10 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever it may be. Below it, that 1:10 p.m., that's what time it is. That's your local time. It is 1:10 p.m. right now as I'm recording this. And then ship mass. Ground, that is your altitude from the ground. Your natural gravity, which that 1.0, 1.2 I was talking about earlier, that's where it will be reading right here. Artificial gravity, which is your gravity generators, and then your speed. On the right hand side, you got hydrogen tank level. That is the levels in the stage 2 tanks. That's how much flight hydrogen you got. Your battery charge level and your power time. Power time is how long your reactors will run on the amount of uranium they got in it. Below here, hydrogen tank, oxygen tank. There's a hydrogen tank there, oxygen tank over there. That's so you can fill your bottles for survival. And then there's also an oxygen generator. And in between your lander O2, that is reading this vent. So basically it's how much oxygen or pressurization you have inside the lander. The atmospheric O2, that is reading the vent on the outside. I put that in there just for like a realism sake, if you will, or role play. So if you're coming down to a planet and you're unfamiliar with it, you can basically see how much oxygen is outside. Do you need your helmet on or not? Alright, now if I get in the seat here, you see at the bottom number 1, number 2, number 3. Number 1 is your takeoff. Once you get up to 5,300 meters, you press number 2, which will activate stage 2. And once you're ready, you hit number 3, which will activate stage 3, which is your ions. Now your atmospheric thruster and your hydrogen thrusters, they have the thrust override already on. And your hydrogen thrust, 63.6, don't change it. If you go any lower, you won't have enough power to get off the planet. If you go any higher, you may run out of hydrogen. Now number 7 will just turn on your gravity generator. Number 8 will turn on or off your ions if you actually need them. Number 9, that is your landing parachute. When you're, say, re-entering an atmosphere, re-entering a planet, you hit it, opens it up, it'll land you. The 2 on the landers, those are automatic. The one here in the craft, you have to physically hit it, otherwise you're going to go boom. Alright, crouch down. Let's get started. 3, 2, 1. Away! Now, the atmospheric thruster is using all the power, so the screens aren't actually working right now because there's not enough power to run them. However, once I jettison it, they'll come back online. Now the solar panels, they technically on your bottom right now. However, the parachute's on the front. So whenever you land using a parachute, make sure they're pointing where your sun would be. Where are we at? 52, 53. All right, stage 2. That's going to fall away. The parachute automatically opens and will let it fall. And your hydrogens kick on. And we'll ride that up to about 1.0, and then we'll activate the ions, and the RCS will come on, push the stage 2 back to the planet for 10 seconds, so it remains in gravity, and it'll fall back to the planet. Now, before I put the RCS on, when I was testing this, there was so much speed behind it that it would actually fly off into space. So somewhere out there, there was a bunch of these little hydrogen modules. So I stuck the RCS on there to keep it in gravity. As you see, we're at 6.8, and we're down to 86, 85% hydrogen left. Now, when you're landing, there is no landing gear anywhere on this. So when you pick a landing spot, you may want to pick somewhere that's not, say, the mountains, because you may land in the mountains and roll down the hill like a lost basketball in San Diego and go boom. So just make sure you pick a good landing zone. Where are we at? 4.2, 74%. As you see, the stop distance, 488 meters. Right now, if I was to deactivate the thrusters, and it would take 9 seconds to stop. The altitude going up and up and up. Natural gravity. Now, in theory, now I did when I designed this, I designed it for the hydrogen section, stage 2, to fall back to the planet. Now, I guess depending on how big of a planet or moon you're on, you could keep the hydrogen section on, and if you get it out to 0G, hop out, grind it down for the parts and survival. My intention for this was for someone to get the blueprint, load up in a creative world, and activate your creative tools and just paste it in, all ready to go, and then begin your survival quest. Now, there were no resources on board other than ice and uranium, so wherever you land, you would still need to go out and start mining. You could probably break down some of it for some parts. Once again, if you keep the hydrogen section on, it could probably break that down. The parachute would carry it back to the Earth or planet or alien world. If you keep it on, depending on it really how you want to play. But it was intended for, say, shortly, just jettison it, let it fall back down, and then go and recover it later. See, 1.2. Is that an asteroid floating in gravity? It is. 1.2. 37% left on the tanks. Now, during my test flights, I think when I actually reached 0G, I had the best was about 15% left. The worst was less than 10, maybe 5%. And that's because I had a lateral movement by mistake from the atmospheric lander, just flying it wrong, and had to correct myself and get myself going forwards again. All right, 0.9, and see, 30% hydrogen left. So I'm going to press number 3 here. Now I should note that the ions do not have the thrust override engaged, or you have to physically fly it. And as you see, stage 2 is falling back to the planet. Now I could fly this all the way out, and it will make it. As you see, my speed is not decreasing, but that's going to take too long. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and land right now for the sake of recording time. Now let's see, I am at 0.7G, and see, we're still hovering. Go ahead and grab its speed here. I wonder if we can catch stage 2. Oh, there it is. There it is. The RCS should have kicked off by now. I only have them set to run for 10 seconds. Bye! Wonder where it's going to land. And actually, where would it land? That's the point of building a scout ship and going and finding it somewhere. Now, like I said, there are solar panels on it and batteries to keep it charged over and running overnight. So all it's powering is the beacon, so it should stay on indefinitely. All these signals are from all kind of test flights. I got beacons everywhere right now on this planet. We're up to speed. So I'm going to go ahead and just shut off the ions. Alright, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pause this video, and when I get closer to the ground, down to about 7,000 meters, I will come back and see you there. Okay, I'm not that low yet. I just wanted to point out that where it says no hydrogen tanks, that's because we jettisoned them. And you will notice the atmosphere O2, no atmosphere. Okay, welcome back. As you see, we're at 2,500 meters. We have been pretty much in free fall this entire time. So, when I get down to about 1,000 meters, I'm going to go ahead and press number 9 and open my parachute. Unless I smack into the ground. BAM! And there we have it. We have launched, went, well, pretty much 0 G's, and free fallen back to the planet. And now, oh, weird. I can begin my survival quest. Well, I hope you enjoyed this throwback to the 60s moon landing with NASA. Leave a comment, leave a like, give me a thumbs up, tell me what you think. I will post the link to this blueprint down in the description. Bye! Have a good day!